Hi everyone. I don't want to be in front of that. If you don't know me yet, I'm Chloe. I'm your SI leader. If you're from the 10:30 section, you probably never saw me, but if you're from the 8:30 section, I was sitting always to the right, or you never came to class, either or. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna use the laptop, and we're gonna go through the questions. There's like 79 questions. So also remember, this is being live streamed. You'll see it at this website on the thing. So if there's a question you just want to listen to over and over again, it'll be there. Or if you want to review something again. I'm kind of sick, so let me know if I'm not speaking loud enough or something, and I'll try to speak louder. Or if you have a question, like I unfortunately have my back turned, so just like say hey, and then I'll turn around. All right, so let's get started. Yeah, if you want to find this online, sorry, just go to this website. I'm under biology. My name's Chloe again. So I'm the only Bio 2 SI or SARC leader. Sorry, you're stuck with me. So this is the last thing. So if you don't like me, this is the last thing we're doing, so don't worry about it. But anyway, so if you go through that, you can find it. Who's still looking for it? Okay, so I'll wait until like 12:02. Look on that website to the right. As you can tell, like this information isn't as like dense as it was early in the year, so you guys get a little bit of a break, but still it's a lot of information and a lot of confusing topics like nerves and who knows anything about plants. Like you never learn anything about plants until you take this class, so I think that's interesting. All right, let's get started. Who wants to read number 1? I know I'm gonna turn around a lot, so I'm gonna have you guys read the questions because I'm lazy. Oh. Which of the following is derived from the ground tissue? All right, good. So what do you guys think? Huh? Paraderm. So you got paraderm, what else? Pith. All right, so good. The answer is pith, D. I'm gonna be, I'll put, yeah, I think I'll just post the answers online later as well, but I'll post them here too. And obviously, if like the answers don't match up to what you guys say, you can look at both. All right, so number 2. Who wants to read this one? We'll get through all the, yeah, all right, cool. All right, thank you. So what are you eating?
Large axillary buds.
All right, good. Large axillary buds, B. So do you guys remember what axillary buds are? Like you won't really need to know like exactly what an axillary bud and exactly what it does to XYZ, but like to get an idea, do you know where it's located? On the plant? Sorry, I heard someone say it. Like, you know, you have the plant and the what?
Axle.
Yeah, so it's that little thing that just stands out there. On Brussels sprout, it's just a lot larger, so just imagine a Brussels sprout, but like smaller. All right, number 3. Boop. Who wants to read this one? Thank you. So what do you guys think? Take a second to read the questions. Say that again, sorry? So which one? C? Sorry, I can't hear either, I'm deaf.
Vessel element and sieve tube member.
All right, good, yeah. So the answer to 3 is C. This is where it gets confusing because you need to know like the parts of the vascular tissue, and you don't really know that. You know there's xylem, you know there's phloem, but like what is xylem, what is phloem? So, all right, number 4. Who wants to read this one? Sorry. Who wants to read this one? Thank you. Good, yeah, the answer to 4 is C. So, why is there this waxy cuticle on leaves? Like, what's the point of it? Why don't roots have it? Yeah, good. So it helps retain the water. So like you said, not really absorb, but like retain it so that there's no desiccation, which was a important evolutionary thing when plants like moved away from being like mosses and stuff like that in the water. All right, good. Number 5. Who wants to read this one?
Antecedent meristems, whose major function is to
So what's the function of a meristem? Produce more cells. Yeah, so meristems basically produce more cells. There's 2 of them. There's a lateral meristem, makes it bigger, and the apical meristem makes it taller. So just remember those 2 differences. That's all you got to know about meristems, basically. It used to be a lot more complicated. You have to like know exactly where it happened or whatever, but now you just need to know makes more cells.
could you say they're like the stem cells?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a joke too. They're stem cells. Okay, but yeah, they're kind of in a way. If you need like a reference, like I don't know the exact like what to call to them. All right, number 6. Who wants to read this one? Oh, thank you.
Shoot elongation in growing bud is due primarily to
Thank you. What do you guys think? So we got A. What else do you guys think? What's E? All right, so we got A and E.
I think it's
B? All right, so we got A, B, and E. The answer is actually D. This is just a really specific one. Cell elongation localized in each internode. So this is just a very specific question. Like I got like one sentence from the PowerPoint. Just note that on the growing bud, it's due to each internode. Hold on. All right, number 7. Who wants to read this one? Thank you. Yeah. Well, what about them? It's kind of the basic function of them. So we got D, grow immediately into shoot branches. All right, yeah. So that is the point of axillary buds. They do eventually grow. But in general, like, what do axillary buds do? Just do they grow like normally, or do they grow eventually? What do you guys think? B? Yes. So B. Axillary buds have dormant meristem functions. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get all of you. So like I said, you don't have to know a lot about meristem funds or axillary buds. They're kind of confusing at some points, but just note that like in this anatomical term, that's what they are. All right, what about number 8? Who wants to read number 8? Thank you.
Additional vascular tissue produced as secondary growth and reorganizes from which cells?
You hear a little whispering. B, apical meristems, close. There's a specific part, like where it happens. Okay, so this is the difference between secondary growth and lateral growth and kind of like vertical growth, which is like apical meristems versus lateral meristems. So in this situation, it's asking for secondary growth. So what is secondary growth? Do you guys know? Yeah, it grows out. So what contributes to lateral growth? Like what part of this? So we got phloem, we got A. The answer is actually A, yeah, vascular cambium. There's a lot of questions that are kind of repetitive, but like it's just to like get you to like think about every aspect of it. So just like to make sure like you understand the concept. If you don't understand one part, you can look at a different question and be like, oh hey, this is where it says that. Yeah, you can take pictures up here if I'm like in the way, just like. All right, who wants to read this one? Awesome. What do you guys think? B? E. Yeah, so it's all of them. Secondary xylem, leaves, dermal tissue, and tubers. This is just to be like, oh hey, this is what it does. All right, number 10. Who wants to read this one? Huh?
Where is there a higher concentration of potassium of a cell at its resting potential?
So, all right, thank you. What's the answer? A, B? It's A? Yeah, what's the answer? What did you say? Inside? Yeah, the answer to this one is inside the cell A.
Salty banana or something.
Salty banana?
Yeah, sodium, potassium inside.
Oh, see, that's a good one. Okay, so salty banana, sodium inside
Well, sodium on the outside, like salt on top.
of the banana.
Potassium on the inside.
Okay, so you guys have a mnemonic. Yeah, I put this there because like this is one of those things that's like, what's the difference between a tendon and a ligament? Something very small. So in this situation, like when you study the nerve, it's important to note that, you know, K plus is on the inside and it goes out to make, yeah. So just remember salty banana to help you remember that. Salt goes on top. The inside is the banana, the potassium. So thank you for that. Woo. All right, 11. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
What happens to the voltage of a cell when K enters the cell during depolarization?
What happens?
More negative?
Negativity increases? All right, what does that mean? It becomes more negative? All right, so it becomes more negative. Do you guys agree with that? All right, cool. So all right, for number 12. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
For a neuron with an initial membrane potential of negative 70 millivolts, an increase in the movement of potassium ions out of that neuron cytoplasm would result in.
What did we just talk about? So yeah, A? Yeah, so the answer is A, yeah. Depolarization. So this is just one of those like stepwise things, like just make sure to note what happens. Like, one thing, I think I have a picture of it later, it's that graph thing, that's super helpful. If you draw that out and like label each part, you'll see it in like a page or two, then it's easy to like help yourself out, like remember stuff. Like some of you guys have the test tomorrow, some of you guys have it on Monday, so you can shake your fist at those people who have it on Monday. 13. Sorry? I'm gonna get to it. It's like it's like around number 17. Yeah, so you'll see it. Like something that helped me out with this class a lot, like if you're struggling on this last test, is to draw like all the diagrams and stuff like that and label it so that when you take the test, you're like, oh, depolarization, that's when it goes like this, or that's when it goes like this. And so it's like, in a way, your own mnemonic. It's like a picture in your brain. All right, number 13. Thank you.
The operation of sodium-potassium pump moves.
All right, good. So what does the sodium-potassium pump do? The thing you learned in Bio 1. The answer is C. 13, sodium into the cell and potassium out of the cell. Huh? See, that's where these get you. It's Bio 1. It's like ligament and tendon and all that. That always got me, like the little things. So the answer is D. D. Sorry. So just think of it. What is the sodium pump powered by? Is it powered by diffusion, or I guess not powered by diffusion, but like does it what?
I said facilitated, sorry.
Yeah, there you go. So it's facilitated. Yeah. You'll see that later. So yeah, it moves the potassium and the sodium across its gradient, like forces it to go back to like normal. So that's like after it goes down, it's just like, okay, now we have to go back to normal. So it just uses that ATP and then forces it to go back to normal. Yeah. So that's where people get confused too when they're thinking of this. It's like, oh, all the potassium leaves. Doesn't that mean there's no potassium left? It comes back. It's crazy. All right, 14. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
Self-propagation and refractory periods are typical of.
So that's when the cell just goes kaboom. Like propagation just means like something happens and then it's just like time to keep going until it ends. So what's that term called when it's referred to the nerve? Action potential? Good, yeah. The answer is action potential. That's when it hits a certain voltage. Yeah, a certain positive voltage. Yeah, and then just suddenly opens all its gates, which causes it to rise to a very high. And then it's like, oh wait, that's too high. And then it goes back down. Number 15. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
The selectivity of a particle or of a particular ion channel refers to this.
All right, so what do you think? The answer is E, permitting passage only to specific ion. So that's why we have our voltage-gated ions and stuff like that. That's just like a quick review on Bio 1. Just remember that if it's specific to like Na+, Nk+, and potassium and sodium and stuff like that. So number 16. Who wants to read this one? Thank you. All right, so what do you guys think? E? Yeah, so this is the presynaptic membrane. Remember the postsynaptic membrane is the one that receives the signal. And the yeah. The dendrite's the one that receives the signal. My mistake. All right, this is the diagram that I was referring to. It's impossible. I don't know how to like refer to both this and the question, but this is super helpful because when we're, one of the questions is asking which ones I think the action potential, and the answer is A to this one. That refers back to the other one. So if you know, oh hey, look, there's a exponential amount of positivity, then that means that there's been a propagation, which means action potential. So you guys can think through these problems. All right, so what about 17? Someone read this one, and then I'll go back to the top. So where's it at its maximum? Yeah, that's just simple, but like that's just a note where like instead of like D where it's at its minimum voltage. All right, 18. Who wants to read this one? Oh, sorry, the answer's B. All right, 18.
Why is it not A?
Okay, so yeah. Well, okay, so yeah, it's asking for like. So like, what does the permeability of sodium do? Like, what does that make the cell more positive or negative? Positive. So when is it the most positive? Yeah, so that's what I was asking in that situation. Good question.
More sodium can't enter though, so permeability is lower.
Trying to think. The membrane's permeability to sodium. That's an interesting wording. I mean, you're right. I think it's just like it's at maximum permeability. That means like that's the most it can hold. So I get what you're saying. So I'm sorry, I just worded that awkwardly personally. Just in case, like, no, that's fine. Better to ask questions than to be like confused. So yeah, the most sodium that it can hold is at B. That's what the question's asking. All right, 18. Who wants to read this one? And then I'll go back up. Thank you. Bless you. So the minimum needed to operate the voltage-gated sodium and potassium is which one? Yeah, good. So, like I said. All right, 19. Who wants to read this one? All right, thank you.
What happens when resting neuron is when polarized?
Sorry. So what happens when a resting neuron depolarizes? E? So the cell is more negative on the outside? That's a confusing answer. The answer is C. It's kind of in reference to specifically, like I get what you're saying, you're right. It's just like this is more in reference to the cell. Yeah, so you are correct, or I don't know, because like I don't think we personally know what the outside of the cell is, because it could be a lot more positive outside the cell. It's just like in this very specific situation. Because usually the cell is more positive than the inside of the cell, so in this situation, one is becoming more positive. It's just like we personally don't know. So yeah, I see what you're saying there. All right, number 20. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
What is a sporophyte chlorinate?
So, good, diploid. This is just a reminder. What's it called? A plant like an angiosperm reproduction, the plants you see are diploid. So, like, I know it's like hard to compare to a human, but like compare it to a human where you don't see a human in a haploid stage like ever, like unless you have like a microscope. So the same thing applies to a plant or an angiosperm. So think about that. Yeah.
And then you can just remember that sporophytes are diploid because you can just say diplo instead.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the gametophyte, the gametophyte's a little easier because like as long as you remember gametophyte is haploid is a gamete. So that's one N. And then sporophyte is just kind of like, it's referred to the old spores, like back in bryophytes and all that fun stuff that you don't really need to know. So then what's a gametophyte ploidy? Haploid. Good job. All right. So we are going to label these. So what's A? I'm going to go back. Why isn't this working? Okay, cool. Hold on. A, so what's A? I'll go back up and down. This thing right here. The leaf, yeah. So what's this, like the term for the leaf? Sepal, yeah. Good. So, sorry if you were saying that. I'm kind of deaf. All right, so we got sepal or sepal, whatever helps you remember. That's the thing about biology. You don't have to know how to pronounce things. They don't care. All right, what about B, right here? All right, petal, good. C, which is the E in the F system. We got stamen, yeah, so it's stamen. Is the stamen male or female? Male, good. And so D, which is this part over here, what's this called? The what? The pistil? Oh, okay. This is the carpel. In this term, it's the carpel. Flowers. All right, so E. You guys are gonna get whiplash going back and forth. What's E? Anther? Good. What about F? F for? Stigma? Anther? E's anther though. The what? Wait. It is the filament, sorry. F for filament. Humorously, that worked. What's G then? Someone said it earlier. Yeah, all right, good. Stigma. H. Pistil? Yeah, I don't really know where the pistil comes from. Like, I don't know where it's in reference to, but like in this situation, it's a style. Like, I forgot what the pistil was exactly, but like she uses the style as an example. Because both of them could be, and I just don't really know. What about, we did style, so I, where is that? Here. What is the thing around these things? Ovary? Ovary, ovule? Yeah, so the ovary and the ovule are two different things, so don't like forget, because the ovary covers the ovule. So ovary to the ovule. J is the ovule. So, would be D? Carpal? Okay, yeah. So, is a carpal another name for it? Okay. Yeah, so she uses carpal, I think, so that's why I use that. I think it's just one of those words. All right, so these are just all you need to know for that. She uses them, she put a picture of them. It's important to note because you have the stigma, which collects the pollen, and then it goes down the style to the ovary, which covers the ovule. So, yeah, so make sure you don't confuse the ovary and the ovule because those are just one of those two words that could be either or. All right, number 23. Who wants to read this one? Thank you. So you got gametes. What else? Spores, yeah. So they are, it's just for plants specifically. So they are the spores, that's what it's called. It's just one of those words that means that. All right, what about 24? Take your time on this one. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
Which of the following is the correct sequence during the alternation of generations life cycle in a flowering plant?
So like if you're still confused on like meiosis and mitosis and fertilization from like 2 tests ago, I think, the second test, it's important to just note what happened. So what is meiosis to, what does the meiosis ploidy go from? So does meiosis make haploids or make diploids? Good, so it goes 2N to N, so that's important to note. What about fertilization? Yeah, haploid to diploid, so just try to remember that. I know like, you guys all know genetics from Bio 1, but you forgot like how it works. And that's kind of like just one of those things that could trip you up and lose you a point, not remembering. So what's the answer to 24? Okay.
A is like the most logical looking one. Superficially maybe.
Yeah, it is A. So remember mitosis doesn't change the ploidy. It just makes more. It's like binary fission from bacteria, which creates more actual organisms, but mitosis just creates more cells. So it would go from 2N to 2N. So say I have like this random cell. Yeah, so mitosis is just like the cells or the chromosome, or yeah, I guess the chromosomes duplicate, separate, and then just become separate.
So in this question, it goes from the meiosis, and at the end of it is a neophyte. Does that mean that the spores from the last question are the neophytes in this one? Do they correspond?
In like sporophyte, meiosis, gametophyte?
Or are the 4 spores the neophytes that would make the gametes?
Yeah. So if they just are in that situation, they kind of just like separate, and then like you're only following one of them, so it's not all 4 of them. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
I know, yeah. It's just the little words, because like, I don't know, genetics was confusing for me for a while, and then like I took genetics and I was like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Number 25, who wants to read this one? Thank you.
Which of the following is true in plants?
So we kind of just went over this, but which one? Yeah, so it's E. Remember, mitosis produces gametophytes to produce more gametes. Meiosis produce spores. Remember, you don't actually see the gametophyte in a flower. It's just really small. It's like microscopic, basically. Number 26. Who's read this one? Thank you.
Which of the following are true for most angiosperms?
Which one?
For the answer?
Oh, sorry. I thought you gave me an answer. You're just saying something. That's fine. What do you guys think? We're thinking D and E. Well, then we're just on 26. The answer is D. So, so this is one of those things to trip you up. Remember, the sporophyte is the plant, so it doesn't have a reduced sporophyte. It has a reduced gametophyte. So it's almost correct. Number 27. The ovule or the ovary? So, alright, going back to this thingy. Alright, so which one's the ovule in this one? The J or I? J, yeah. So, yeah. So that's where, see, that's where it gets confusing. So this J, which is the ovule, gets fertilized, and that's what becomes. So that's what you're eating, basically, when you eat like an apple or something, or I don't know, let's say a berry, a blueberry. All right, what about 27? Who wants to read this one? Thank you. So what do you think? You go.
A.
We got A. What were you gonna say?
The other guess would just be B.
What about C? Both a diploid embryo and a triploid embryo are formed, or endosperm. Yeah. So remember, it's like double fertilizing. So both in double fertilization, one is actually fertilized, the other one just creates a triploid endosperm. You don't really have to know how it becomes a triploid. Just know that in that, and it becomes the food. So just remember, triploid endosperm equals food and stuff like that. Huh? Sorry. The triploid endosperm. So double fertilization results in a triploid endosperm and a diploid embryo. So that's a double fertilization of that. The triploid endosperm is the food for the seed. You don't really have to know how that happens, but just note that that's the result. Uh, 28. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
Which of the following statements applies to the endosperm and angiosperm?
A. So the answer is A. Yeah, so you're right. That's just like a timing thing. So you are correct. It is nutrients. It's just absorbed by the cotyledons. I don't know how to pronounce that, but in the cell. So that's like seeds are dormant, so they can survive long periods of time. But the amount of time that they can survive depends on the endosperm, basically. $29. Oh, sorry. So the embryo is developed, and then the embryo kind of feeds off the endosperm in order to survive. Like, pretend there's a seed in like Antarctica, and then all of a sudden it's spring. Like, it'll survive that winter through the endosperm. Yeah. All right, 29. Who wants to read this one? Thank you. All right, fruits develop from. Womp. What did you say? Ovaries, yeah. So the answer is ovaries. So that's the difference between what he asked. So fruits develop from the ovary, that's where they come out, but they develop as the ovule. So that's where this is kind of a confusing question. So they develop from the ovary, so like they're there, but they develop from the ovule, so they are the ovule. So when they grow, it's the ovule that it becomes. So it's just a very confusing question. I kind of worded it awkwardly, so I'm sorry about that. They develop like from the ovaries.
From the ovary, then it becomes the ovule?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, like it is the ovule. The fruit is what you're eating is the ovule, but it develops from the ovary.
Ovary, the outside?
Yeah, kind of. It's not the seed coat, but it's something along that way. So just think of it like that. Kind of. It's confusing, but you don't have to know that. So yeah, this is a confusing question. I'm sorry. I kind of just worded it and I was like, I'll understand. That was my fault. Sorry. All right. Number 30. Who wants to read this one?
Go ahead.
Okay. You go. Sorry. It's like the same three people. All right, you go.
Which of the following examples describes a behavioral pattern that results from a proximate cause?
C? Yeah, so the answer is C. So what's approximate cause again? What about you guys who have a test tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. or 7:30 a.m.? That sucks. So which one's approximate? What is approximate cause? Yeah, so it's the how, not the why. What is the why? Ultimate good. And so like what is the ultimate one based off of? No, the why. So just think the evolution versus like not evolutionary. Sorry, hold on. Okay. What did you say? So the proximate cause, like he says, the how it happens, like the bird's changing its nest, so that's how because the daylight's different. The why is like kind of like the evolutionary reason why. 31. Who wants to read this one? I kind of just said it, but. Thank you. Behavior is ultimately shaped by what? Yeah, evolution. So we just went over it. Yay. All right, 32. Oh my god. Yeah, whatever, 32. Thank you.
Animal communication involves what type of sensory information?
Thank you. What do you think? Yeah, it's all the above. But it's just to like, this is kind of just a reminder that it is all of these. Look out for them. What about 33? Thank you. Yeah, pheromone. Good. So this is kind of the easier part, where it's just like communication, because what are we doing right now? We're communicating. So 34.
Animals use pheromones to communicate.
yeah, all the above. Just so to like kind of like hone in on the definition of pheromone in case you didn't get it. Just remember it's a lot more than just to recognize from the same species or the same like what's it called for mating. It goes beyond that to like warn people of the, animals, I guess not people, and to also like recognize each other. So like if you see two flies that look exactly alike, like one will release a pheromone and be like, oh, I don't know you, and then it'll eat it. 34. 34, 5. Okay, read 35 and I'll go back up. Wait, sorry. Yeah, read 35 and then, actually, that actually made a lot more sense. Bam, got it. All right, 35. Who wants to read this one?
Through trial and error, a rat learns to run a maze without mistakes to receive a food reward.
Which one is it?
Oh, that's above.
Yeah, sorry. Like, it's below 2, but like, for visual purposes, this kind of makes a little more sense. So we got operant conditioning. Do you guys agree with A? Yeah, so the answer is A. So this is a good, these couple questions are good. Like if you guys print this out or whatever, you can like write down what each word means next to them so that you can like refer to them and just be like, oh, hey, this is what this means. And so you're constantly kind of like writing it down. Because the thing about like biology and stuff like that, it's different than math. Like in math, if you know how to do something, you know how to do it. But in biology, you kind of need to know exactly how it goes and through what protein process, protein synthesis and stuff like that. So it's a process. So if you know what every word means, it helps you out. All right, what about 36? Who wants to read 36?
A human baby performs a sucking behavior perfectly when it is put in the presence of the nipple of its mother's breast.
All right, so what would that be? Innate behavior, good. So this one's C. Yep, that's wrong.
Was that innate?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, like I said, visually it's hard to do this, but on paper it looks nice. All right, 37. Who wants to read this one? Thank you. What do you guys think? The answer is, I'm sorry. Yeah, the answer is E. No, it's actually A, I lied. I'm looking at the wrong question. Sorry, I got confused.
How long you have the opportunity to imprint it, but the behavior could be for the rest of its life.
Yeah. So yeah, good point.
So that's like the trip up on that.
Yeah, so this is one of those things, like you said, it's a trip up. So there is a short, like where it can imprint, but like you said, like it lasts for a very long time. The answer is A, yes. 38. Yeah, I feel like we went through like the harder stuff. Now it's just kind of like smoother sailing, so.
Learning in which an associated stimulus may be used to elicit the same behavioral response as the original sign stimulus is called.
Yeah, that was a hard sentence.
Yeah.
What is it? Classical conditioning, good. I had to include the dog. All right, 39. Let's read this one. 39. Thank you.
Some dogs love attention, and Frodo the Beagle learns that if he barks, he gets attention. Which of the following might you use to describe this behavior?
What did you say?
I think she said D.
D, so we got D. What else? E? A? The answer is actually E. Get tricked. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Number 40. So what is the definition?
Like trial and errored it, sort of like Alcibiades maybe. Like it learned, it like figured it out. Like if I bark, this will happen.
Yeah.
Like nothing was done to him to teach him it.
Yeah. So see, this is like one of those things that would like trip you up if like you don't read it through all the way, or like just like assume, because sometimes it's kind of similar, but like at the same time there's like the important stimulus of like somebody else. What about 40? More imprinting. Actually, I think I have a lot of questions on imprinting for some reason.
What is the meaning of stimulus? Like how does like gray lab use? That's like, is it mean nearby object?
Yes, a nearby object moving away. Yeah, so this is just basically just like it's one of those things that everyone for some reason knows, because you would think that recognition of the biological mother, but it's not. It's the object that's moving away that causes it to be like, oh, hey, stimulus brain, and a whole bunch of biology and stuff like that for it to be like recognized. All right, number 41. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
Treating behavior with a high energy intake to expenditure ratio is called.
What do you think? C? Heterotrophy? The answer is actually E. Yeah. So I see what you're saying. In this situation, it's asking for like a high energy intake to expenditure ratio. So that means it's more efficient than not. So yeah, exactly. So that's the ratio. So it's like the surface area to volume ratio. It just means it's highly efficient in this situation. The intake is high, and the expenditure is also kind of low, so it makes it like optimal foraging. So that's why it's not heterotrophy, because like heterotrophy is kind of just like it takes a lot of energy for not a lot of energy sometimes. Like I guess a puma and a dog or whatever. If a puma eats a dog, but I don't know why I said dog, but there you go. Answer is E. Number 42. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
You discover a very new bird species, but you are unable to observe its mating behavior. You see that the male is large and ornamental compared with the female. On this basis, the probability that the species lives.
What do you guys think? A. A. Yeah, so it is A. Where is that? A. So this is just to remember the definitions between all these words and like what each one does. So like what is polyandrous?
Like a female that's with, or the male has to impress a certain female.
Polyandrous is multiple males to one female.
Yeah. What about promiscuous? Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Okay, so this is just to make sure to know the difference between those, because then, especially polyandrous and polygamous. So what does polygamous mean? So a polyandrous is multiple females. Polygamous is multiple males. Right?
No, polygamy is like
Yeah.
in human language it's multiple wives. Like multiple.
There you go, multiple females. Even I got confused. So, yeah. So it's one guy, multiple females, polygamous. So one bird who has to impress a whole bunch of females and stuff like that. What about 42? The exact same question, except same words, all different question. E. So The mating system in which females are more ornamented than males is, yeah, so it's E. What does polyandry mean again?
Andro is just male, so polyandry is multi.
You're good at these like breaking down the words because I can't even think of stuff like that.
All a bunch of like Latin.
So what about polygamy?
And then Danny would be
Yeah.
that one was a little
In the PowerPoints, polygamy, it's polyandry and polygamy are next to each other. Polyandry is the female, multiple has to impress the males. Male has to impress the females. It's there to confuse you. It's like those words that sound similar. That's the point of the question, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, it's similar. Yeah. 44. Yeah. The microphone, unfortunately, is not for like you guys. Yeah. It's for like you streamers. So. Sorry. Yeah. So what do we say for C again?
polygamy is just one male having multiple females.
So it's a similar concept. Yeah.
It's people argue about something Mormon Catholic.
Promiscuity is just like multiple and multiple, so that doesn't really have much. Yeah, so like promiscuous. Sorry, what? Sorry, promiscuous is like in reference to like lines and stuff like that. Like they're promiscuous. It's what it's in reference to.
Just has a lot of partners in general.
Yeah. D and E. So D is male impress female. E is female impress male. What? In this question? Yeah. So if there's multiple males for one female, sorry, what do you say?
So polyandry is one female with multiple males. D is one male with multiple females. And polygamy in general just means one with many. So it doesn't matter which end.
Yeah.
Just one with many.
One with many. All right. Yeah. So then, and then promiscuity involves like a different concept. All right. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
So Andy, like you said, is male. You said.
Yeah, andro is male, and like the EY, like is female. So if something is androgynous, it's andro, and it's both male and female, and that's why that means that.
See, breaking down words. He probably took medical terminology. So, does that make more sense to you guys? No. Wait, what are you so confused about? Yeah. Sorry. See, that's a good idea. Andrew Male. And what is the like
Promiscuity is the free-for-all.
promiscuity?
Yeah, and then polygamy just means the same thing as polygyny. It's like, that's the redundant case. Multiple wives.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So does that make more sense?
And then monogamy is like you actually just have one partner.
The one we all forgot.
Mono.
A quick question.
Yes.
Would the male not be ornamented if it was monogamous?
Neither of them are both sexes look identical when they're actually not.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't matter.
So in monogamy, like you said, thank you. So monogamy doesn't focus on the ornamental, like just like in the PowerPoints, you'll see certain words are associated with certain other definitions. Like ornaments is focused on polygamy and polyandry. So if you see ornament, just think about those two in reference to those. So that's why it's important to go through like the PowerPoints and like catch those keywords to like help you remember on the test. All right. Are you good with 43?
Yeah.
Good with 43? Yeah. All right. So 44. Who wants to read this one?
How do altruistic behaviors arise through natural selection?
All right. Thank you. What do you guys think? C? So yeah, C. What else do you guys think? A? Yeah. A? E? D? All right, so the answer is actually A. So this is very specific to like natural selection and like going all the way back to the first test. So the point of natural selection, like in a sense, it means that like it was more beneficial and in the genes. So not in the genes, but yeah, in the genes. So it keeps going and it keeps going and keeps going. So it's through hereditary measures. So that's where natural selection comes in.
But is it the genes from animal being altruistic or just the general genes of the species?
So how does evolution occur through individuals or populations? Populations. So yeah.
Because that makes it sound like it's the person, the thing being altruistic.
Well,
Gorillas taking care of other females' kids.
it's like the idea that like evolution is really slow, and you don't realize how slow evolution is until you have to like think about it. Because like you have that one gorilla that does that one altruistic thing, and then another one does it, and then another and another, and there's propagation, and it's like, oh hey, this is actually helpful, and so it learns, and it just keeps going. Like this is going all the way back to like the first test. So does that make more sense?
It makes sense for the group, I was just saying.
And it's like her actions is more just like, it's kind of just like a general term. It's not like oh this one gorilla and this one gorilla, his, her. It's just like they. I don't know why they just use the they, but there we go. All right, 45. Who wants to read this one?
Animals that help other animals of the same species.
C? Yeah, C. Are usually related. What? All right, sorry. Are usually related to other animals, so it is C. Yeah, so that's just like a general thing with altruism. All right, 46. Who wants to read this one? This is,
I have a question about 44.
yeah.
Does that increase that one survival rate and increases the rest of the survival? So I don't know how does it how it's
So this is like through natural selection. So like, are you thinking competitiveness? Like that's competition compared to altruism. So like so in the situation, it's just like this altruism did help out, and so it's just passing down through the genes. So that's like, I'm not personally sure. Like I don't think a lot of us know how it is passed down through the genes and stuff like that, like through imprinting and stuff like that. So I can't really explain that part to you. I'm sorry, but so basically it's just that like an eventual learned behavior eventually made more sense to all of this organisms and in the population, and it just kept passing down and passing down. So monkeys are in a group now, and stuff like that. Does that make more sense? Yeah, sorry. 46.
Fred and Joe, two unrelated mature male gorillas, encounter one another. Fred is courting a female. Fred grunts as Joe comes near. As Joe continues to advance, Fred begins drumming, recounting as Jackson bares his teeth. Joe then rolls on the ground on his back, gets up, and quickly leaves. This behavioral pattern is repeated several times during the mating season. Choose the most specific behavior described by this example. So I was keeping track of what Fred and Joe did.
Are you describing Joe's or Fred's?
Okay, Fred's courting the female first.
Both of them. It's kind of just it's the specific behavior by the example.
Fred scares off Joe when he comes to him.
So we got a B. So the answer is actually A. It's agonistic. So this is in reference to the mating season. So Fred and Joe they do kind of want to be in the same area, but they obviously don't want to be in the same area. But all the females are in the same area, so they have to go with each other, and that's the result of the agonistic behavior in that. So it's not like they're like saying, "Hey, get out of my territory." They're like, "Hey, I want to mate with this female." So that's where that's like in specific reference to. All right, this is a fun one. All right, so what are the scales of ecology? Where do we start? Huh? Yeah, like all of them, like from the big to small. Huh? So we got planetary. Global. Landscape? I can't type that fast. Community? Population?
Words like biosphere and stuff.
The-
Or bio. Or like, is the planet the biosphere? Because it's a sphere with a lot of biology on it.
There's a lot of biology on this sphere. So where's the biosphere is just kind of another term. It's,
Globe.
yeah, it's so.
Make sure it's the right one.
Yeah, so it's not under landscape or anything like that. It's just there. Population and organism. So in the PowerPoint, she talks about what each one investigates. So what does global try to investigate? How regional energy and matter exchange? How what?
Investigates how regional energy and material exchange affects organisms across the biosphere.
All right, what about landscape?
Investigates exchange of energy, materials,
Yeah. You should write it down. Okay. Exchange of energy.
comma, materials, and organisms between
What about ecosystem?
investigates energy flow and chemicals between organisms and environment.
What about community?
Investigates competition and predator-prey interaction.
What about population?
Investigates factors that affect population size and change of growth.
What does it do again? Sorry.
Investigates factors that affect population size and change of growth
And change of what?
over time.
Evolution. What about organism?
Studies how organisms are structured
pretty much it.
physiology and behavior interacts with environmental
I'm very bad at typing, guys. I'm sorry.
with environmental challenges.
All right. Whoops. Yeah, sorry. I just like moved my finger. All right, you guys good? All right, cool. 48. Who wants to read this one? Yeah, so it's B. This is just like kind of like a review. Just be like, oh, hey, yeah, I remember that. All right. 49. Who wants to read this one?
The main reason polar regions are cooler than the equator is that
Thank you. Yeah, the answer is B. She didn't go too much into biomes. It's just kind of like listing them and remembering the basics of each one. So that's interesting. All right, what about 50? Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
Coral reefs can be found on the southern east coast of the United States, but not as similar latitudes on the southern west coast. Differences in which of the following most likely account for this?
What do you think? Yeah, ocean currents. Good. $51. Who wants to read this one? For what? Yeah. So which marine zone would have the lowest rates of primary productivity? It is abysmal. Yeah. So yeah, primary. Yeah, it's just kind of like to write all the words out. Something that like you guys should like try to do before your test. Something that helped me out, even though it's really hard to actually draw. Draw out the little cube thing and draw two of them out, and then like label each part, like the netteric zone. Is that part of lakes or part of oceans? Ocean, yeah. So what's that? It's kind of hard. It's like this part of the graph. So, huh? What is the netteric part? The netteric. Sorry. Sorry, what is the netteric? Netteric, sorry. I'm trying to speak louder, but I'm struggling. That's the pelagic. Yeah, so that's like that.
Lobsters would start to kill if they get old enough.
Yeah, it's just
That's
interesting.
What teachers would say.
Yeah, so like make sure to like draw out like the different zones if you can. It'll help you like learn them. So like you could just like use it as a reference to, and obviously not on the test, but like if on the test you're like, oh hey, I forgot what this is, you can draw it out real fast and be like, yeah. 52. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
A meteor impact or volcanic eruption injected a lot of dust into the atmosphere and reduced the sunlight reaching Earth's surface by 70% in 1 year, which of the following marine communities most likely would be least affected?
Yeah, the deep sea vent. Yeah. So just remember the deep sea vent. Like, you don't have to remember this, but they are the deep sea vent like primarily uses the energy of methane and sulfur and stuff like that, so it wouldn't be affected by photosynthesis. Yeah. It's also just to like, huh? All right, who wants to read 53? We're almost done.
Two plant species live in the same biome but on different continents. Although the two species are not at all closely related, they may appear quite similar as a result of.
Yeah, convergent evolution. I don't know if she, yeah. I don't know if she will, but she could possibly put this question or something similar to this, and then something similar to the one I asked with natural selection. She could just insert that in, just to be like, hey, remember this? Because you guys technically learned it, even though it's not cumulative, but it's, as you can see, like, it's in reference to what you're learning as of like right now. 54, who wants to read this one? Thank you. What do you think? The answer is B. So, what is the climax stage? Yeah, so that's like an undisturbed area of like 100 years compared to like, you know, this is just it. This is as far as it can go. The trees can't get any bigger. The deer can't get any fatter and stuff like that. 54 or 55. Someone after 54. Who wants to read 55? The answer is, yeah, B. The aphotic zone in a shallow lake. It's like the man-made lake, so yeah, the shallow lake. Huh? I think like it's really hard to write like biology questions because you have to like not trick you guys, but like ask you like how to know things without saying what is the littoral. So there should be questions, in my opinion, like similar to this. Like I picked kind of harder questions, even though they seem kind of easy. Like there's just a lot of definitions and terms there. So I feel like there'll be like simpler than this, and it'll just be like, oh hey, what's this? And you'll be like, oh, I know. So I don't know, because like when I took the class, like I studied a whole bunch of AP questions, and that's what kind of these are. These are all from like AP books and stuff like that. So they're meant to ask you like very specific questions about very specific things. And so, bless you. So a lot of the times they like overlapped. I heard a lot of people were like, oh, your last test, Dr. DeBecker actually asked some similar questions. And I was like, oh, because there's only so much you can ask about an abysmal lake. Yeah, so I don't know. I haven't taken Dr. Tierson's test, so I personally don't know. Supplemental instruction. Hey. All right, 56. Who wants to read this one?
Population is correctly defined as having which of the following characteristics?
Yes. C. 1 and 2 only. This is getting to like the boring. I don't know. For me, ecology is not my favorite subject. No offense to ecologists. So this is just like the nitty gritty stuff. Oh snap! There's more stuff, but whatever. Yeah. 56. I don't know who asked that. Or are you good? Whoever asked that. $57. Who wants to read this one? So what do you guys think?
I want to say density,
But
so I don't want to. It could be dispersion. I'm 50-50 on that.
so it is density. So one thing that kind of gives it off is the per.
Yeah, the person.
Yeah, so density doesn't really matter what it is. It's something over something, space over an amount, and that's just how much is in that area that you can use to extrapolate to a larger area. Dispersion is kind of just like looking at an area and like counting how much is what?
It's just like how spread out are they?
Yeah, and like how they are. What?
The species richness is dispersion.
Yeah, so it's just like how it is spread out. So density is like the hard numbers, like oh, this is 30 out of a 1 mile radius or whatever. But dispersion is just like oh, hey, they're kind of like clumped together here. They're kind of random here. That's just what they do. All right. 40 or 58. Thank you. We got E. What do you guys think? All right. D? Yeah, so the answer is D. So uniform is kind of as far away from each other as possible. And this is usually in reference to plants because it's hard to like find like, you know, animals and be like, oh, these guys are clumped together, these guys are random. So uniform is these plants are as far away from each other as they possibly can be, but it's kind of like in a uniform way. It's interesting, but yeah. There's 59. Who wants to read this one?
To construct a reproductive table for a sexual species, one needs to
This is kind of like in reference to like a cohort. Yeah, so sorry, this is like kind of just a random term for like the cohort of a sexual species. So in this situation, the answer is C. It's to keep track of all the females in a cohort, and it's just a way to like write out their reproductive cycle and stuff like that. So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to like throw a word in that you guys didn't know. So she won't like throw something like this in there that you won't know what it is. 60. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
Which of the following sets of measurements is the most useful when studying population?
All right, so what do you guys think? A? Yeah, so the answer is A. So these are the three things you guys kind of just need to know. Yeah, so D to the third power. Density, which was the amount of organisms in a certain area. Dispersion, how they're dispersed. And what does demographic mean? What is it? The what? Yeah, so it's just kind of like statistical categorization by phenotype. Yeah. I think. So what about 61? Who wants to read this one? Back to cohorts. Whoop. Yeah, the answer is D. Not E. It's kind of dramatic until they're all dead. Number 62. Who wants to read this one? Yeah, the answer is C. So this is like knowing that once, kind of like with the disturbed, this is a disturbed situation where it's logged. So you have grass growing, you have weeds growing, you have all this stuff that's just coming in, just being like, oh, hey, I can grow here now because of all these resources instead of like now sunlight and stuff like that. Abiotic and, sorry, say.
It's free real estate.
Yeah. 63. Who wants to read this one? It's 3 words.
Carrying capacity is.
Yeah. Yeah, the answer to this one's B. $64. Who wants to read this one? Thank you.
Which of the following causes populations to shift most quickly from an exponential to a logistic population growth?
It should be. I'm just bad at spelling. It's, yeah. I don't actually even know how to spell logarithmic, so we're just going to go log. What do you think? Yeah, the answer is D. So once it reaches the carrying capacity, more or less, it, like, you know how that happens, hits the carrying capacity and is like, oh, can't make any more. So, not anymore, but like, it just needs to calm down. You guys all talked about this in your demography lab. 65. Who wants to read this one?
Which of the following statements about the evolution of life history is correct?
Yeah, the answer is C. So like things, like she said, this is more of an outdated technique. Things don't fall under one or the other 100% of the time. Oh, there's an E. Oops. Sorry? No, you're good. Okay. 66. Who wants to read this one? Yeah, so the answer is D. What does that mean?
Semel is like one pair. Like they reproduce once and they probably die.
What about iteroparous?
You iterate through it a few times.
If I was just like think of these, I feel like you're just like in class, just like ha ha ha, laughing to yourself. Oh.
This is like the last one I'm taking for science. But I like it.
See, it's a good class. All right, don't worry too much about B and D. Just worry about A, C, and E. This is the only one I can actually find. So, 67. Who wants to read this one? Like I said, don't worry about D or B. E? The answer's actually A. So it's humans as like a whole. So regardless of that, we still like kind of survive. So just think of it in that situation, because like a dog who lives on the streets and is starving, he's still living in a population thing, or a survivorship A. So it refers to like that specifically. What about 68? Who wants to read this one?
Which curve best describes survivorship in marine mollusks?
Whoop, whoop. So marine mollusks. Yeah, the answer is E. E, sorry, the answer to this one is E. Okay, so this is a bad example. I found this online. It went with this graph, but it's kind of just like talking about a lizard or something like that, or a lobster, which is what she mentioned. Well, this is kind of a lobster, but so it's just a bad example, but it's along the lines of like a mouse or something like, or a cockroach, like the whole million of them don't survive, don't survive, don't survive, and then a cockroach will last forever unless you kill it. So. Does that make sense to you guys?
Can you repeat that last part?
Yeah. Sorry. So yeah. So E is in reference to. Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's so hard to like talk to like, and then have my thing to think. So E is, you have like a million babies, but only like 4 of them survive, and then they last a really long time, like cockroaches. So that was just a bad example, like the mollusca. So in this reference. It is E.
If you use cockroaches, it would have been much easier to answer.
Yeah, so she won't ask that specifically. That I found that question online, and it like referred specifically to the graph. Yeah. So here. Bam. 69. Who wants to read this one? So 69. Boop. The answer is niche. Niche, niche. All those fun words. Niche. Number 70. We're almost done, guys, and then I'll open up to questions if you have like anything specific you want to talk about.
Which of the following is an example of cryptid coloration?
B. Yeah, so the answer is E. Yeah. So like you said, hiding, colorization, and kind of just blend.
Because I almost went with the word crypt like a 2, but then I was like, wait a minute, that would mean,
It's just dead.
yeah, crypt is dead, but like it doesn't mean that with this.
What about this one then? 71.
Base.
Who wants to read this one? Okay.
Which of the following is an example of Batesian mimicry?
Answer is C. So what is Batesian mimicry? A species that what?
Oh yes, I only ever
She pronounced it Batesian. That's the first time I've ever heard it, but it sounds correct. It sounds a lot more correct than Batesian. So, like you said, you don't have to worry about the pronunciation. Just whatever helps you remember. So, if Batesian, Batesian helps you, don't even worry about it. Sorry, it's 72. The answer is actually B. Yeah, so the way this was worded was like, huh?
Well, it's obtaining nutrients and water from the vascular tissue. It's sucking its blood, basically. Like the tree wanted those nutrients.
What?
It's taking the tree's nutrients.
Yeah, so
What is there?
in this situation, like it's receiving no benefits, but it's not talking about the consequences. So there are consequences. It doesn't have the nutrients or the water. So that's where that comes in. Commensalism is like, I don't know if she used the example of the
It's like
turtle.
bacteria on your skin. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
the
doesn't
natural
hurt
flora.
you because it's not stealing anything from you or hurting you. It's just living there and existing. It's kind of,
What are they called? Commensalism.
yeah, that's commensalism.
Yeah, so that's the example they're using. So that's the commensalism. You don't notice them. They're not really taking anything from you. They're just existing. And you have a million of them. Yeah. Yeah. So the wording here is like that. It's just kind of like on purpose to make you like think about it. So they obtain nutrients and water. So the tree is losing something, and the tree derives no benefit from the the bacteria. So in that situation, it's talking about how, like, it's not saying it's a mutualism. So, oh, hey, I'm giving you some of my nutrients, but in exchange, can you photosize for me? No, it seems like it. That's just like where the wording comes in. Commensalism is like where the whatever it's called, I forgot what the one thing, the dwarf mistletoe. Huh. Here, wait. Everyone, bring it in real quick. All right. Yeah. So if it takes nutrients and water, that's a negative for the tree. So you think of it in like a positive negative sense. So the tree is like negative, and the dwarf mistletoe is positive. So that's what makes it a parasite. So if the dwarf mistletoe was just living there, it'd just be O and kind of O. So that'd be commensalism. But since like it words it as though the tree's taking the nutrients, that's where the parasitism comes in. So that's the difference between those two. Like I know it's confusing. There's this like someone used the bacteria on your skin, the natural flora, and there's also like this little cool turtle that kind of just swims around and has grass growing on it. It just exists. It doesn't do anything for the turtle, but so it's just like that. Does that make more sense to everyone? All right, 73. Who wants to read this one?
Which statement best describes the evolutionary significance of mutualism?
Yeah, answer C. So, yeah. 74. Who wants to read this one? Okay.
In a tide pool, 15 species of invertebrates were reduced to 8 after one species was removed. That species was likely a...
Yeah. Keystone species. You know, probably as a herbivore. No, I'm just kidding. Boom. All right. 75. It's a long one, but. Who wants to read this one? All right, cool. What do you guys think? Yeah, so it's basically what a keystone species does. So even though like it's not the most prominent, it's still there. I keep wanting to use different examples, but I don't think she went over them because like the keystone species, or yeah, she went over the starfish. It's not the most prominent there, but it exists to like maintain the order of the underwater species. All right, so there's this guy again. All right. I'll go back up after someone reads it. Who wants to read this one?
Refer to the picture above, which the following statements is a valid conclusion of this experiment.
Okay, so Balanus, Cthulhumus, and only Cthulhumus. So this one's just Cthulhumus, no Balanus. This one has Balanus. Sorry. All right, 76. D. Okay, wait. Sorry. Okay, so these are two different areas. One of them just has both Cthulhumus and Balanus. The other one just has Cthulhumus. I'm sorry. Pretty much. So Cthulhumus can survive the entirety of the range, like you said, but with Balanus there, Balanus outcompetes Cthulhumus for the lower spots. If it were just Balanus, if there were a third thing, it wouldn't be able to go above a certain point. That's where Cthulhumus survives. Yeah. So the answer is D. $77. Who wants to read this one? The answer is E. It's the competition between the hyena and the lion. The two are high up predators, so the two are kind of competing each other for the same animals. Yeah, it's like lion and hyena.
It's like the hyena feeds off of the prey, the lion's finished with the prey.
I mean, like in this situation, it's just like we have this lion, we have this hyena. They both won the gazelle, but they both can't get the gazelle. So the two are competing against each other.
So they just both lose out to certain hyena.
Yeah, so competitions always are negative, negative. No one wins in a competition. Huh?
Yeah, they took turns.
It's, I mean, in this scenario, I guess this is another example of a bad example, but think of like, pretend if a lion and a tiger somehow lived in the same area. It would be something similar to that. That's what I was trying to go with. I'm just not good at examples, I'm sorry. What about like she'll give you clear examples, like just make sure you note the things like I said, like I made this up on my own, so like I'm not making the best examples for whatever. 78. Yeah, so this is a mutualism. A, positive, positive. 79.
But view these relationships among the species in the community, term the community's
Yeah, trophic structure. Okay, so that's the last question I have for you guys. If you guys have any questions for me, I'll be right here. If you want to hear anyone else ask questions, then just try to be as quiet as you can.
Thank you.
No problem.
The sodium potassium pump one, because why wouldn't the sodium be going into the cell and the potassium is coming out?
So this is the sodium potassium pump is different from the
The action potential.
it's different from the voltage gated channels. So you have that one, which is just sodium, that one, which is just potassium. The sodium potassium forces sodium out of the cell or against its gradient, so forces it back out and then forces potassium back in. Yeah.
How many questions did you find?
I think she said around 60 or 70. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. Sorry.
Could you give me examples for the graphs, like the one with the muscles and
This one?
like the dog? No. The graph that one.
Yeah.
Just for
Okay.
like
Sorry.
the graph for each line, like an example.
Okay. So A, like I said, is humans. It's just humans in general. C is like squirrels. They could survive. They produce about like whatever, but they could die at any point.
Okay.
So just like basic examples. Then E is like cockroaches.
Okay.
So it's just like a million of them.
yeah,
and
or
then-
survive. And D and B.
D and B, like I don't think I said it too loud enough, but like just ignore those.
Okay.
This is the only like graph I could find to
Okay.
like
Alright,
represent this.
perfect. And then you said the thing with the muscles on the slope, the one you previously pulled up
This one?
all the way at the end. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were saying, because like you're like you notice that the water level like lowers, so at least in the picture, so that's what I thought, that like when the water like this would dry out.
No, you're okay. So you are correct in that. Like that's a good assumption to make. I don't know why they did that to confuse you, but what they meant here was to say that basically that like in Cthulhumus could take this entire thing,
Okay.
no matter what. It could take the desiccation, it could take the suffocation, but in this one, Balanus outcompetes it. But Balanus cannot go that high, so
Okay.
Balanus
Yeah,
can't.
'cause it dries out. That's why like the whole entire thing that I was like thinking. That's why I picked that one.
No, yeah,
But so it's just niches in that question, basically.
yeah, basically.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, true. I came like 20 minutes late. I just want to know if I can get numbers 1 through 20.
I think I'm gonna post them, and then there's also the videos. So if you, I'll post them like as soon as I get home later today. So
Is
you
it
wanna
going to be on this, like on the same? Okay.
yeah, it'll just be like answers.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. I need 1 through 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
Hello.
knew the first couple, so.
It's okay.
Can you just like, is there any other way you could explain the fruits from the ovaries and the ovules? Because I still don't understand that.
Yeah, that was like an awkwardly worded question. So, because then there's this one up here where I'm like, let me find it. Then 7:30.
Take it. No, take it. I'm on the class. I'm taking next Monday.
But you're ready to take it.
Yeah, I just want to get. I have other exams.
I don't think she will. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. You can like message her and just be like, hey, hold on. So,
I think it was the triplet one. You just passed it.
womp womp. This one? This one.
Yeah.
Okay. And a triploid.
No, that's double.
Mhm.
I think it's